Yeah, so that's a really interesting one. And I've been thinking about that because obviously, in crazy times we live in, that's become, I think, a really interesting question because, in Australia, like many countries, they launched a contact tracing app by the government, which, if you haven't read up on it and you want a good laugh, have a read. It was pretty funny. But a lot of the discussion, I mean, the thing doesn't work, but a lot of the discussion about it was, well, I'm not going to get it because then the government will know everything about where I am. Why don't they get Google to do one? And I'm just there going, So 3 months ago, you were all screaming that Google knows too much about you, but now you want Google to know every single person that you meet up with. But there is that, that a trust deficit there. So, and this comes back to, the data value exchange, really. People don't trust the government with their data, but then they don't trust, Google or Apple or whoever it might be. And then, things change and it becomes necessary. It's like, okay, if I get this app, then it's safer for me to go outside and grab a coffee. So I'm willing to give that data over because the value to me is, some measure of freedom, and health and safety. So that's a really interesting one. So who do I think, I mean, I should be in control of my information on the internet, but there is so much information out there, and how many people actually check it or regularly check it is a different thing, and one of the other things, this is kind of a bit of a pivot on the question, but one of the other things which I'm finding really interesting is, in Australia, where things are opening up, some things are locking back down again, unfortunately, but things are opening up. And so, but anytime you go somewhere, you've got to check in so that they can do the contact tracing, okay? And the check-in can be anything from, there's a QR code. Yay, QR codes are finally becoming a thing, which is great. It's a QR code, and you kind of fill it in there, and etc., which, is definitely my preferred option for, both as a consumer and as a marketer. But a lot of places are just like, hey, there's a clipboard at the front desk. Could you please write down your name, email address, and phone number? And I'm like, sure, but there's 20 other people before me, and there's 20 other people after me, and there's my name, email address, and phone number just sitting there on a piece of paper, and what's to stop somebody taking a photo? So, that concept of privacy, and your information, not just on the internet, but everywhere else, is, I think it's shifting really fast. And as brands and as marketers, we need to keep an eye on that, but also we need to act really honorably and not exploit it and look after it. So, not a fan of the clipboard at the front desk. I should be able to control the information, but I think that horse is bolted. I really do. The horse is bolted. It's out there. There is, I work with brands on a daily basis, and they have so much information, about their customers, even information that they don't know that they had. And being able to access that in some kind of, one way, that's a biggie. So, and the best way that you can do that, whether it's a contact tracing app or whether it's, brands having information, is if it's owned by a few organizations, like Google or like Apple or whoever. And then you can go and say, all right, I want to block all that. I want to go and review all my privacy settings, and I want to pull all that data back that you have given to those people. But that means we are trusting one company with that data. So it's just like, what are we going to do? We want the, we want the experience of, them knowing who I am and making it easy for me, and connecting it, and me not having to sign in 3 different times with my telephone provider. But we also want to control it. And I don't think as brands, we haven't come up with a good answer, and consumers, frankly, don't have the education to know.